Hello everybody, welcome back to our Zoom tutorial. So I'm making a series on how to use Zoom, most especially if you're doing your remote or online learning classes, or just for the sake that you're using it for your meetings. So I've done two videos before about one, how to create your Zoom meeting, and the second one is how to go to the settings using the Zoom app. Okay, when I did that tutorial video, I used my laptop, and on this tutorial as well, I'm using my laptop. Okay, so for this particular video, I'm going to be talking about how to go through the Zoom settings in a very advanced way. Okay, one of the things why I would like to go through this advanced setting is just for me to double check that I am securing my room. There are questions about Zoom before or previously about its security measures and which has been dealt with accordingly by Zoom, which I'm pretty much happy about it when they did put in place some security measures just so that when you conduct your meetings or when you have your classes, it's more secured, most especially if you're handling children or you're teaching children. So I think I'm pretty much happy with that. And also recently they did update the app. So if you're using the version 5, there are definitely a lot of features there that make your sessions more secure, even if you're using the free Zoom account. I'm currently using a free Zoom account, which allows me to do Zoom video conferencing for 40 minutes. And later on, I'm going to talk about how to extend that, or if you need to extend, let's say when you're in the middle of a meeting and you need to continue on. So there's actually something that you can do about it. I'm going to do a tutorial on that as well. So for the meantime, in this tutorial, if you're going to stay put, I'm going to be talking about the advanced measures or settings of Zoom in the website. So to be able to do that, you need to go to the website of Zoom, okay? And then you need to log in, okay, with your details, your email, the ones that you have created when you started to sign up for your Zoom. So your email, your password, and then just click sign in, and then it will bring you to the interface. Okay, so this is actually the very basic interface that you're going to go into. So of course you have your profile. Okay, so I'm just gonna show you briefly how it would look like, and later on you can explore it yourself and see. For this tutorial, I'm just gonna go to the most important parts of the settings. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, this is where you can change your picture. Okay, so if you look at the setting, it's more detailed actually. You can even change your password, and your details are all here. Like for example, the time zone that you choose or you to prefer, and it's all here. Even when you want to edit your password and your host key, it's all here. So you just go to the website and just sign in. Now for your meetings, it's the same thing. The tabs are basically the same as what you see in the app. So you have upcoming meetings, previous meetings, personal meeting room, and meeting templates. You can actually set that here when you want to have a meeting template. Like for example, when once you have set up your meeting, there's actually this what do you call that? A template that you just send it out to your contacts. So if you want to have a meeting template personalized, so you can also do it here. But I'm not going to deal into that for this particular meeting because I'm going to go on to the settings first. So this is for webinars. This is for those who are actually paying for Zoom. Then you have your recordings. Okay, I'm not going to touch on recordings here too in detail. I'm going to do that in a separate video. So again, this is a very comprehensive tutorial just so that it will help you set up your Zoom sessions. Okay, now, so let's go to settings. Now I'm gonna just go through the meetings basically first. So in the app, when you do the settings, when I had done that in the previous video, you can also do some of the settings there. Like for example, host video, start meetings with host video on. You can do that in the app as well as here in the website. So you can do that too. So I would just switch it off. So actually when you switch it on, it would look like this. Okay, so you just have to pull that circular thing and then it will turn blue. So if it's blue, it means switch on. If it's gray, it means you have disabled it. Okay, so participants video, yes, I would like to switch that on, most especially if my students are coming in, so I would like to see their faces. You can do that too if you would like to screen through your attendance. Okay, that's something that you can do to secure your account. Now, I'm going to use my computer audio, so that's what I'm currently using now. So again, in my previous video, I also mentioned about disabling this join before host, because if you allow this, it means that your participants can join the room before you, which is, I think you still want to make control, right? If you want to make it secure. So since you're the host, it's best that you start first, then only your participants would come in. And that is more, I mean, for me, on a personal note, I would do that because that's more secured. Okay, now you can also enable personal meeting ID. So this one allows you to have your own personal meeting ID. So for my case, I have enabled that, so it's blue. You can also use your personal meetings in your rooms. You can do that, but then again, like I said, always secure it. Don't just give it away. Don't post it on social media or even the password, because this is I mean, if anybody or any stranger would get those details, then they can just jump into your sessions and they can just, you know, do whatever they like. So that's why they have this term called Zoom bombers. Okay, now same thing, also you can also use all these details of personalizing your Zoom meeting IDs. Okay, you can also require a password for personal meeting ID. So this is actually you can actually change this. This is a default generated by the site. You can also change that. I will change that later on. So this is also some of the join meetings from web client. So if, let's say, they okay, what's good about Zoom is that you can actually join even without an account. So for example, I'm a student, and let's say my teacher gave me the Zoom password and Zoom ID. However, let's say I don't have an account, I can actually participate just using the link. Okay, in the previous video that I did for you, when it shows how to create your Zoom meeting, you can actually see that there's a link there. So you can actually give that link, most especially if your participants don't have their own Zoom account, which is good. Okay, now it requires a password when scheduling new meetings. So this one requires for you to do that. Same thing, all this password embedded and enabled things for your Zoom meetings. Now, I do enable this because sometimes once my students or those participants who would come in, like sometimes they have a lot of background noise. So it's good to mute them first upon entry. Then you can also like settle down your class or settle them down, give instructions. Then only you unmute them or give them the option to unmute themselves if you have any questions or if they want to speak to you. So now there's also this upcoming meeting reminder, which you can also find it in the settings in the app. Okay, so this is for the basic. So like I said, this is for basic accounts, just like what I'm using, because I'm using the free account. So this setting is what I would like the most, because there are instances wherein my students also like to chat. And I do give them that opportunity because that also allows engagement, not just, you know, like not just when they're talking, but also when I include chat. Like for example, if I do surveys, like, okay, if any one of you understand the instruction, just give me 1, then they can type in 1, okay, 2 if you don't understand. So there's this is one way to bring the, let's say, the engagement in the session. This is something that I would what do you call that, enable to, because if you enable this, it means that you are allowing each participant to privately message one another. So for example, if I'm student A and I want to send a message to student B, if you put it on blue, it means you're allowing them. However, if you just want them to chat in the group itself, you can do that by doing that here. Okay, so mine is already allowed or enabled, but for this one-on-one, I would prefer not to, because sometimes most especially if it's on a remote or online learning, you can't really make sure or ensure what kind of conversations they're having. Sometimes they also share some notes or anything, and that's not something that you would like your participants to do or your students to do. So I would prefer to disable it. Okay, for case-to-case basis maybe, then I would, but for this particular session, in my preference, I would disable this. So this is something that you can do as well. Now you can also auto save your chats, most especially if you're doing your recordings. And sound, okay, this is a very good thing too that I would recommend, highly recommend to enable, most especially if you want audio prompt to let you know that someone is trying to come inside your class or your meeting, or somebody leaves your meeting or your class. Now, remember I told you that there's actually the setting put in place by Zoom wherein you can screen through who can come in your Zoom sessions, wherein you have to actually admit them and do it manually and click it manually that you have to admit. Now, I know this is purely on the setting, but later on when I have to make another video, I'm going to show you how it really works fully when I create the session itself. So just watch for that video. It's going to come in. Okay, so now for this particular setting, I would want to switch it on. Like I said, I want to enable it because I would like to hear who comes in to my session or to my class and who leaves. That gives me a notification, most especially if they come in late or they come in after the session begins. So this prompts me an audio prompt to notify me, like a chime. Now there's also a file transfer option here. So this is actually enabled. So if you want participants to actually share files, it can be PDF, and you can also even choose what type of file they can share to one another, or even in the group. So you can choose PDF, JPEG, so you can actually do it here. So for this particular setting, I want my meeting to be host and participants that can send through the meeting, and I won't, let's say, I won't lock it into a particular type of file, so I won't take that or enable that. Now, feedback for Zoom. So these are all just survey of how Zoom is. I think that's good. It means they want to improve their system. Now, screen sharing is very good. I do like screen sharing, most especially if I'm teaching, because I do screen share my PDF files, or maybe my PowerPoint presentations. I like to screen share with them, and even the whiteboard. Okay, this one I will do a separate session on screen sharing and how to do that later on. So who can screen share? For the meantime, I just want to enable host only. There is actually a particular tab later on when you are already running your Zoom session, wherein you can just change the setting to all participants, or just change it back to host only. Okay, so this is also who can start sharing when someone else is sharing. Well, I don't enable that because I don't want to, I want to share, then somebody wants to share. So it's more organized if the host, as a teacher, I would like to do that myself. Now, annotation. I like this feature as well with on Zoom, because it gives you that way for you to write on the whiteboard, or allows your students, for example, if there's something that they spot on that they don't understand, you can just circle it on their tab, or even using their mouse if they're using a computer. So that's something good. I'll show you another way to do that in another video. So whiteboards are good. So you allow saving of whiteboard content. You can also enable that. Auto save whiteboard, that's also good. Remote control, if you have somebody controlling it for you, you can enable that too. So these are all allow removed participants to rejoin. Okay, so let's say you removed a participant, you can actually allow them to come back in. Allow participants to rename themselves, yes, because sometimes, like for example, on a personal note, some of my students uses their parents' account, so I wouldn't know whose account is that. So sometimes I just ask them to rename themselves, so you can also allow that. Hide participants' profile pictures in a meeting, you can do that too, but for now I'm just gonna disable that. So in a meeting, if there's somebody who's abusive, you can report. Breakout room is very good. I like this very much, most especially if you want to do group discussions. It's very good. It's very engaging. I would always enable this one. I'm gonna do, like I said, another separate video for breakout rooms. I'm gonna show you how to do it step by step. And of course, these are all the other settings that you can go through. Virtual background, this is also available in the app. So if you see, it's more comprehensive and detailed here when you go to the website. So I hope this helps you. So this is just an advanced tutorial on how to set your Zoom meetings and to make it, again, like I said, more efficient and safe for you, most especially if you're doing your meetings or you're doing your teaching. So if there's any questions that you have about Zoom, okay, you can just type it at the comment box. For now, all I ask you is to subscribe to this channel because you are going to get more tutorials on how to use Zoom efficiently and effectively. I'm also going to do a comparison between Skype, okay, because Skype is also good, okay. I'm going to compare the two platforms, and just so you can choose which platform you would use when you do your online meetings or online video conferencing or online or remote teaching. Okay, thank you very much and goodbye.